The News Hour first.
Ladies and gentlemen, November 19, 2021 will go down in India's history as a turning point, at least as far as agriculture reforms go, whichever way you look at it. Today, the Prime Minister announced the withdrawal of the 3 farm legislations that were passed by the Parliament in September of 2020. The much-needed modernization of the agriculture sector will now be stalled, but the decision had to be taken for the country's interest, declared the Prime Minister himself. In his 19-minute address to the nation this morning at 9 a.m., Prime Minister Modi apologized for his government's failure to take the benefits of the legislations to the last man on the ground. And he said that I apologize, हमारी गलती हुई है क्योंकि हमारी तपस्या में कमी रह गई. Listen.
किसानों की स्थिति को सुधारने की इसी महाअभियान में देश में 3 कृषि कानून लाए गए थे. मकसद ये था कि देश के किसानों को, खासकर छोटे किसानों को और ताकत मिले, उन्हें अपनी उपज की सही कीमत और उपज बेचने के लिए ज्यादा से ज्यादा विकल्प मिले. बरसों से ये मांग देश के किसान, देश के कृषि विशेषज्ञ, देश के कृषि अर्थशास्त्री, देश के किसान संगठन लगातार कर रहे थे. साथियों, मैं आज देशवासियों से क्षमा मांगते हुए सच्चे मन से और पवित्र हृदय से कहना चाहता हूं कि शायद हमारी तपस्या में ही कोई कमी रही होगी, जिसके कारण दिए के प्रकाश जैसा सत्य कुछ किसान भाइयों को हम समझा नहीं पाए. आज मैं आपको, पूरे देश को ये बताने आया हूं कि हमने 3 कृषि कानूनों को वापस लेने का, रिपील करने का निर्णय लिया है. इस महीने के अंत में शुरू होने जा रहे संसद सत्र में, इसी महीने में, हम 3 कृषि कानूनों को रिपील करने की संवैधानिक प्रक्रिया को पूरा कर देंगे.
But the BJP's political rivals were quick to snipe at the Prime Minister. They said the decision had little to do with respecting sentiments and more to do with the upcoming assembly elections, especially in Uttar Pradesh and Punjab. Listen in to the reactions that came in from the opposition.
वो आज माफी मांग रहे हैं जब 600-700 किसान शहीद हो चुके हैं. विधानसभा के चुनाव जो हैं, उनका सर्वे आया है, उसमें उनको दिख रहा है कि परिस्थितियां ठीक नहीं हैं. तो अब चुनाव से पहले वो माफी मांगने आ गए हैं.
3 काले कानून वापस लिए गए हैं. काले कानूनों की वापसी अहंकार की हार है. जनता इन्हें माफ नहीं करेगी.
मोदी सरकार को कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कोई राइट ही नहीं था कि वो इस तरह कानून बनाए. दूसरा, ये सिर्फ कानून इसलिए बनाया गया क्योंकि मोदी अपने ईगो की सेटिस्फैक्शन के लिए.
आज केंद्र सरकार को किसानों के संघर्ष के आगे झुकना पड़ा और 3 काले कानून वापस लेने पड़े. आज सिर्फ किसानों की जीत नहीं हुई है, आज जनतंत्र की जीत हुई है.
So what prompted this rethink from a government who has often in the past remained firm on its no repeal stand? Was it Rajniti that railroaded reforms? The BJP denies the charge vehemently. To prove their point, the Saffron Party cited election results after the laws were passed, but it is not as simple as the BJP would like us to believe. The impact Uttar Pradesh's poll results would have on the party are perhaps bigger than all those states like Assam and West Bengal combined. Losing the Hindi heartland would mean curtains for the BJP's momentum ahead of 2024, and the first impact would be felt if the BJP would not be able to elect its own president in July of 2022. The possible blowback in Punjab and Uttarakhand is also something to ponder on. And being inflexible about the farm law issue could send a wider message that the Modi government is insensitive to farmers and their needs. So that brings me to the legitimate question on the News Hour tonight. Did elections trump reforms? That's the question and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour first. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight on the debate is Raghav Chadha, MLA and spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Also with me this evening is Priyanka Chaturvedi, Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament and Deputy Leader from the Shiv Sena. But my first question goes to Dr. Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP. And Dr. Patra, today the country is asking you a question. Politics has won over economics. That's for sure. That's the takeaway from today's decision. But the question people are asking is, what took you so long to understand that in India politics is important? Because 700 people have lost their lives in these agitations. We've seen the spectacle of the tricolour being disrespected on 26th of January. We've seen loss not just of life but of livelihood of a large number of people. And we've seen farmer communities sitting on dharnas in various places in the country and normal life of ordinary Indians being disrupted for 1 year. That long to understand that politics would win over economics?
See, Navika, I can understand the emotion behind your voice. I can understand the concern that, in fact, you have asked this question with. And in fact, these questions are to be answered with the same amount of statesmanship that the Prime Minister has shown today. And let me tell you, it is not a matter of who is victorious and who has been defeated. If at all someone has been victorious, I would say it's the large-heartedness of the Prime Minister, it is the statesmanship of Prime Minister. So we all are on the common page that as far as agricultural reforms are concerned, they are of extreme importance. And remember, as far as these 3 farm laws are concerned, since time our country got independence, there has been consistent demand for almost all these provisions which were laid down in these 3 farm laws. Many of our opponents, including the Congress Party and to some extent the Aam Aadmi Party also, in their previous manifestos had a mention of these clauses that if they were to come in power, probably in Punjab or in India in 2014, central government, they would have implemented the same thing that the government implemented because they wanted reforms. Astonishingly, the same were implemented, but there was a lot of politics. And today the Prime Minister made it absolutely clear. There were no flaws with the 3 rules. There were no flaws with the 3 laws. The flaw was in not being able to communicate with a section of Kisan, section of farmers. Not all the farmers, a section of farmers. And remember, to convince every section, to convince every category of farmer is of extreme importance. And that's the reason as to why the Prime Minister today has repealed the 3 farm laws. I firmly believe that this kind of statesmanship is of rare example as far as Indian polity is concerned. As far as why not 1 year ago, why not 2 years ago, whether it was political, my only 20 seconds answer would be, as far as political compulsions are concerned, of course, we did not bow down to political compulsions. 20th of September 2020 was the date when these laws were in fact passed on the floor of Parliament. Thereafter, there were 58 elections in the country. Local elections, by-elections, state elections, 5 state elections, Assam, Puducherry, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Bengal, and we have done exceedingly well in these elections. We have formed government in Assam, we have formed government for the first time in Puducherry. We have travelled from 3 seats to 77 seats as far as Bengal is concerned. We have formed in fact the Greater Municipal Corporation of Hyderabad. We have formed the Gandhinagar Municipal Corporation, 41 out of 44.
When you begin to talk about municipal corporation elections, Dr. Patra, and you talk about a section of people running and their emotions running the country, then clearly something is terribly wrong. And that's the question I want to ask Mr. Raghav Chadha. Mr. Raghav Chadha, first, statesmanship or political compulsions? What forced the repeal of these 3 agricultural laws?
Look, first of all of us understand this very well, that the decision that has been announced by the Prime Minister at 9 a.m. this morning is not out of the goodness of his heart. This is not an example of large-heartedness. This is a textbook example of political calculation, keeping Western UP and Punjab in mind. And that's the hard truth. If they were so concerned about the farmers, and if they are of the firm belief that these farm laws are against the interest of the Indian farmer, are detrimental to the interest of the farmers, then they could have repealed it a few months ago. In fact, over the last 12 months, more than 700 precious lives of farmers have been lost. A lot of hardship was undergone by the Indian farmer. All that could have been saved. So let's not really sort of, look at this from the prism of large-heartedness shown by a political leader. This is a politician at work. And, previously we used to hear that you win elections to make laws. Here you have a government that is repealing laws to win elections, or so they think. As far as Punjab is concerned, let me tell you, as somebody who's looking after the affairs of Punjab for my party, that BJP is a non-entity in the state of Punjab. I'm doing this interview from the Majha region of Punjab. I'm in Amritsar right now, and I can tell you, people are happy. People are elated with joy. People are saluting the hardship as well as the struggle of the Indian farmer. But this doesn't mean that people have forgotten or forgiven the BJP for the kind of hardship and trauma that they had unleashed. Let's not forget that every single Indian farmer was abused by the BJP. In fact, the spokesperson of the BJP on this panel, Dr. Patra, had gone on record to say that these farmers are extremists. He said extremists disguised in the form of farmers. That's the phrase that he had used a few months ago to describe the Indian farmer. They were mowed down by ministerial convoys. Lathi charges became a daily feature. So let us not, really mistake this for any gesture of large-heartedness. This is nothing but a politician at work. He sees Western UP, he sees Punjab in the next few months, and post-Feb, they'll forget Punjab, they'll forget UP, they'll move on to the next state. But at the same time, it's come at a time on an extremely holy day, on Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Prakash Parv. I salute the struggle, the fight, the sangharsh of the Indian farmer, and this is a victory of Kisan Mazdoor Ekta. It is not a victory of any political party. It is not a victory of any politician.
Dr. Sambit Patra is raising his hand. You've taken his name. You've called him out. Before I go to Priyanka Chaturvedi, you want to rebut something that Raghav Chadha said? Did he say anything that was not a fact?
No, nothing on him. I want to be general. I want to just echo the sentiments of the Prime Minister, because I don't want to politicize the whole issue. As far as calling out names to the farmers are concerned, remember, Ravneet Singh Bittu is not a politician from Bharatiya Janata Party. Ravneet Singh Bittu, in fact, is a congressman, is a member of parliament from the Congress Party. He was the first one who, quote-unquote, used the word Khalistani. We never used that. It was the Congress Party which first floated this kind of sentiment as far as calling out names to the farmers are concerned. We do not support that. Number two, and most importantly, remember, reforms and resoluteness, reform and resolve, these are extremely important. If you go through what the Prime Minister has said today, the Prime Minister talked about the 4 most important aspects of the farming sector of India: the beej, Bima, Bachat, and in fact the budget. Remember, as far as the farming budget is concerned, 5 times increment in the farming budget. Similar in every field, be it the MSP, be it urea-coated, neem-coated urea, be it DAP, in every sector, as far as reforms in farming sector is concerned, the Prime Minister has done utter best. I would like to conclude by stating one thing, Navika. We may be debating, we may be discussing on the repealing of these farm laws, but remember, the intention that was behind these 3 farm laws was something which was echoed by one and all. Navika, 1,000 times, I personally have participated in your debates on your channel with you as the anchor.
But obviously they were worth nothing. They were worth nothing. They were worth nothing because neither were you convinced and neither are the farmers convinced, and therefore we are back to square one, which is when in August last year the first ordinance came out. And Priyanka Chaturvedi, that's what I want to ask you. On the one side, Dr. Patra says reforms are important, but resolve is equally important. Do you believe that that part, the second part, the resolve part, is now going to be questioned? Because tomorrow everybody will want everything rolled back. And that is what happened in the UPA Sarkar also. Every time in the budget there was an announcement of a fertilizer price hike, there used to be pressure. Because if you give in once, then where does the resolve really stand? In fact, I know I have 4 notes of 1,000 rupees, and I want to ask you, I want to implore you, 4,000 रुपए ज़्यादा नहीं होते, लेकिन 1,000 के 4 नोट हैं मेरे पास. संबित पात्रा जी, उनको भी वापस करवा दीजिए, उनको भी थोड़ा चलवा दीजिए, क्योंकि 4,000 जर्नलिस्ट के लिए बहुत होते हैं. प्रियंका चतुर्वेदी, डोंट यू थिंक?
So, firstly, I'd like to begin by first congratulating all our farmers who, despite being called anti-nationals, despite being called Khalistanis, despite being called terrorists, despite all attempts to silence them, whether it was at the Haryana border, whether it was at the Uttar Pradesh border, whether it was in Delhi itself, whether they were lathi charged, whether they were tear gassed, they continued their resolve to fight for their rights. They continued to fight to be on the side of the truth. Now you talk about resolve. Resolve is what the farmers showed you. When you talk about resolve in a democracy for the government of India, the resolve also ensures that you maintain the democratic principles of a nation and also maintain the constitutional norms of a nation which were enshrined in the constitution in 1950 when India adopted its constitution. You bypassed everything in your so-called resolve, and you bypassed not just the stakeholders who would be impacted by this law, you bypassed the parliamentary process, you bypassed the constitutional norms of a law coming into motion without states being involved in this entire conversation. So this was not a resolve. This was just an unnecessary authoritarian behavior to try and push through some so-called reform. Now I want to come to your immediate question which you asked Mr. Sambit Patra, that will politics overrule economy or economics? That was your question. How would you say that these reforms are economical, good for the economy? I'll give you the example of state government of Maharashtra. When Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji spoke about free markets and doing away with the APMC, Maharashtra was amongst those first which adopted that particular idea. But even today, farmers, despite having that option, choose to go to APMC markets because they are assured of a fair minimum price. So what are we even discussing about economy? I don't know where are we even talking about this particular issue from. So even if you look at how it works, it may sound that, oh, it's sound economics, but it wasn't. And that is why farmers are protesting. And this entire idea of, oh, Mr. Modi could not, explain to some percentage of the Kisan population, and that is why he rolled it back. He kept the sentiments of that small percentage of farmers. Are you trying to say farmers don't know what works for them, what doesn't work for them? Are we trying to say all the farmers in this country and they do not understand what is good for their own rights and what is not good for them? So this entire explanation flies in its face, because here you have a government which has fallen flat in terms of all parameters of framing a policy, which has fallen flat in terms of maintaining decorum, democracy and constitutional norms. And today, after 1 year, after 700 farmers have died, after they have been labeled anti-nationals, after they have been labeled terrorists, we still talking about, oh look, this is a rollback. This is not a rollback. This is something which is a shameless attempt to try and capture political territory, because they know they're losing political middle ground. This is not for the welfare of the farmers. This is for the political welfare of Bharatiya Janata Party, because they see 5 state elections coming up and they fear that they might end up losing the popular support that they had been enjoying.
That's a very spirited attack, and Dr. Patra, respond to that attack made by Priyanka Chaturvedi.
See, Navika, in fact, I had begun by responding to the same charge, though she had not made the charge then, but to the question that whether this is a political move out of fear, vying out of this 5-state election. I had categorically mentioned that these 3 laws were passed on the floor of Parliament democratically, quote-unquote democratically, on 20th of September 2020. And thereafter, there has been almost 58 elections, state elections, that is Vidhan Sabha elections, Lok Sabha elections, as well as local body election. And Bharatiya Janata Party has done exceedingly well as far as these elections are concerned. We have formed government in certain states like Assam. We have really done well in Bengal. We have done well in Hyderabad, Telangana, etc., etc. I have a whole list of it. I don't want to, in fact, take much of your time in this short debate, just enumerating the number of states that we have won, the number of seats that we have won. So it's not about fear factor gripping us politically. We have to be prudent, because what Mr. Modi stated today, that there is a section, because you all know within the heart of the hearts that there is a section which we could not convince.
Priyanka and Raghav Bahl certainly don't agree with you. Their hands have gone up. Raghav Chadha, prudence
so no issues.
Came in.
They will not agree, I know that.
Raghav Chadha, the prudence came in too late?
Well, this is political electoral prudence. And I don't know whether it's come in late or not. The election results will certainly speak for themselves. But I mean, everyone knows that this is a politician's decision, keeping the upcoming elections in mind. You see, the Bharatiya Janata Party, if they believe that these laws were in the interest of the Indian farmer, then these laws should have been properly introduced in the parliament, should have been debated, should have been voted, and then subsequently being passed or referred to the select committees, etc. Every parliamentary convention, every parliamentary procedure was thrown out of the window. And with the brute force, physical force of MPs of the Bharatiya Janata Party, these laws were passed. Not with the force of the numbers in the house, but physical force. MPs were compelled, MPs were beaten, their shirts were torn, and they were dragged out of the houses of the opposition because they were protesting against the introduction of this bill. The introduction of this bill was mala fide. The contents of the bill were mala fide, and the way these were passed was mala fide. Mala fide was writ large, and the intent of the government of India was mala fide vis-a-vis these bills. You had MPs sleeping outside the Gandhi statue within the premises of the parliament, protesting against the very basis of this bill and the way this bill was introduced and passed in the parliament. If they really believe in the goodness of heart, in public debate, in democracy, in passing laws in a democratic fashion, why didn't they debate this? Maybe the opposition MPs or those sitting in the opposition benches could have, shown some wisdom and given some insight to the government of India. And perhaps if there was such anger and vehement protest against this bill could have been referred to a select committee. Maybe 700 lives could have been saved. But maybe the hardship.
But Raghav Chadha, allow me to ask you this question. With the repeal of these laws, doesn't it take away the biggest so-called issue in elections, both in Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand and in Punjab, from the Aam Aadmi Party?
Look, damage has been done by the BJP. I can certainly speak for Punjab that BJP, and Navika, I am saying this with a sense of responsibility, is a non-entity in Punjab. Travel with me in the state of Punjab, you will see, forget leaders and MPs and MLAs of the BJP, even Panna Pramukhs of the BJP, workers of the BJP are not allowed to enter into villages of Punjab. They are beaten up, they are heckled, they are asked to leave. That is the state of the BJP in the state of Punjab.
Of course. I mean, it's my state. It's my state, and I know the ground situation there.
It's my state too, and I can tell you that BJP is a non-player. It's a non-entity, and we are wasting our breath discussing BJP in Punjab because it's not a player. Out of 117 seats in the state of Punjab, on some seats it will be a direct contest between the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party. On some seats it will be a direct contest between the Shiromani Akali Dal and the Aam Aadmi Party. As far as the upcoming elections are concerned, Aam Aadmi Party in every single survey is a clear front runner, where every Punjabi today says ek mauka Kejriwal nu, ek mauka Aam Aadmi Party nu. And it's perhaps an attempt to stop the Aam Aadmi Party from forming a government in Punjab, that the Prime Minister has shown allegedly this large-heartedness, this so-called statesman-like, gesture by withdrawing these legislations. And lastly, let me say this, that not all the demands of the farmers have yet been, conceded to, because one of the principal demands of the farmer was the statutory guarantee of the minimum support price. That is still pending. So I hope that the farmers compel this arrogant government.
Priyanka wants to come in.
I hope that the farmers compel this arrogant government into giving the statutory guarantee of the MSP as well.
Allow Priyanka Chaturvedi to make her point, and then you can answer both of them together, Dr. Patra. Yes, Priyanka.
Okay.
I just want to talk about the 2 points that Sambit Patra ji made. One was that as far as winning elections was concerned, that they have been winning multiple elections and election after this bill was passed. Then I don't know what changed Prime Minister's mind that overnight he's gone and taken this call. I'm very certain he understands the ground reality in those states which were most impacted by this bill. The 2 states which were talking consistently, the 3-4 states that were talking consistently against the bill, and the farmers from those particular states were protesting vehemently against it, have actually welcomed this particular thing, including their own alliance parties. Now, second thing that he said was, oh, this was passed in September 2020 on the floor of the House. Come on, I was a witness to what you all did inside the floor of the House. I'm a witness to what happened in the Rajya Sabha. You all suspended opposition. You all tried to do, you all treated them roughshod. You did not even hear the opposition. You continue to talk about opposition in a derogatory way in the same fashion as you continue to talk about our farmers today. And I find it extremely amusing when today Sambit Patra ji speaks about, the large-heartedness of the Prime Minister. When this bill was passed, they were the very first ones to come and talk about the large-heartedness of how this will bring a reform. So this double speak has been observed by not just the opposition, not just by the news media channels, and I'm hoping the news media channels will talk about this double speak after all that they have seen. But again, I do not have much hope. But last, I'd say, people of this country have been witness to how voices were crushed, how people were mowed down, how those who were mowing down the farmers, were protected by the law. They continue to be ministers, their children continue to be in the hospitals, not taken into jails. Everybody has seen what has happened in the past 1 year, what has unfolded against the farmers. So if you think that they will gain any political brownie points out of this, they're going to win nothing, simply because this has come too little too late. And it is not an economic reform. It was an authoritarian bill that they assumed would help the country, just like they thought demonetization will help this nation. And it ended up reducing India's GDP growth story, reduced India's economic growth story, and we stand at a point where we have highest amount of unemployment, we have a price rise, we have fuel prices rising every single day, and we don't know how we are going to be trying to match up to all the promises that the Prime Minister had made to the people of this country in 2014, forget 2019.
Well, Dr. Patra, the educated class, the upper middle classes, which were supporters of the BJP, certainly disheartened with the repeal of the laws, and the farming community, the modest classes and the working classes certainly looking at this as too little too late. क्या ये वही बात हो गई कि किया सब कुछ इतनी देर से, अंत में ना माया मिली ना राम?
No, I don't believe it that way. Because remember, the opposition had been quite vehement when they were speaking about demonetization in 2017, just prior to Uttar Pradesh election. They said that Modi ji had brought demonetization, so in fact Bharatiya Janata Party is not going to win a single seat in Uttar Pradesh. And the result was a historical one. And Navika, only about a couple of days ago, I was with you on Times Now in a survey that was conducted by Times Now in Uttar Pradesh. And in fact, that was with the law, that was with these 3 laws present on the ground, we were winning handsomely. We were winning hands down. Uttar Pradesh, that is Times Now's survey. So to say that there's some kind of political backlash that we are going to face, and that's the reason as to why we are trying to withdraw these laws, is absolutely bunkum. I'm not the one who is saying so. Your channel itself in your survey had to say so, number one. Number two, my good friend from Aam Aadmi Party, Mr. Chadda, spoke about arrogance, that BJP is full of arrogance. But in the same breath, he talked about, why should I be discussing BJP in Punjab? BJP is a non-entity. It may not win many seats in Punjab. By the same logic, though I do not want to extrapolate the logic, but by the same logic, how would it be if arrogantly I call out and say that, look, Aam Aadmi Party has a single member of parliament in the country, in the Lok Sabha, so it's a non-entity in the discussions which discusses the countrywide ramifications of a law. So why should I be considering Aam Aadmi Party? That would be arrogance if I say so. We have been an important player in Punjab. Yes, of course, as a younger brother of the alliance partner that we once had. But that does not make us one of those non-entities, non-existing player as far as Indian polity is concerned, as Mr. Raghav Chadda says. Thirdly, Ms. Priyanka Chaturvedi and Mr. Chadda time and again saying that there was dictatorial attitude, it was dictatorship on the floor of the parliament, we did not have discussion. Sir and madam, all these issues went to the Supreme Court, where the lawyers from your side did argue, your side in the sense that there were political lawyers as well as lawyers from the farmers' side. Both the sides argued that this was a dictatorial approach, it was not discussed on the floor of the parliament, to which the Supreme Court did not agree. A committee was formed, the laws were put on hold for almost 2 years. So I believe there's a lot of politics as far as political parties are concerned. As far as Bharatiya Janata Party and Mr. Modi is concerned, the sole intention is and would always be reform of the farming section. And remember, Navika, reform is never easy.
Dr. Patra,
reform across the globe is
Dr.
never
Patra,
easy.
अभी तो थोड़े दिनों के लिए कम से कम रिफॉर्म की बात ना ही करें तो अच्छा है, क्योंकि इस वक्त शायद कोई ये बात मानने के लिए तैयार नहीं होगा. Raghav Chadda, I'm completely out of time, but 30
seconds. Since I'm answering to both my brother and sister, can I just take 10 more seconds?
I understand.
10 seconds, Raghav भाई, since both brother, दोनों भाई बहनों को मुझे उत्तर देना पड़ रहा है, तो थोड़े बड़े भाई को 10 सेकंड और दे दो, राघव भाई.
लीजिए, प्लीज, आप बड़े भाई लीजिए, 12 मिनट लीजिए.
Navika, all that I have to say is, I mean, without any tangential satire, is it not true that the Aam Aadmi Party in the 2017 manifesto, while they went to contest Punjab elections, they said that they would be freeing the farmers of the APMC mandis, they would be giving them more independence? Is it not true that the Congress Party also in their 18 manifesto, 2019 they were to contest the elections, 2019 manifesto, they categorically promised that they would be freeing the farmers of the market system.
उन्होंने लिखा था ताकि आप टीप लें, लेकिन उन्होंने लिखा था ताकि आप टीप लें, और आपने टीपा और आपने इम्प्लीमेंट किया, और उसके बाद आपकी बत्ती गुल हो गई. आपकी बत्ती गुल हो गई. षड्यंत्र था, पात्रा जी, षड्यंत्र था.
That's what I have to say. Most of that you see is
30 seconds.
All of them wanted this.
मैं बीजेपी की परेशानी समझता हूँ. आपने बोला ना माया मिली ना राम, इसको एक और तरीके से कहा जाता है. ना एक और तरीके से कहा जाता है, ना खुदा मिला ना विसाले सनम, ना इधर के रहे ना उधर के रहे. But I would also request Sambit ji and through him the Honorable Prime Minister to at least express his sorrow, his grief on the martyrdom of more than 700 farmers who had to sacrifice their life to make their voices and their struggles heard before this government of India. And I do hope that the MSP guarantee that has not yet been announced will also be announced very soon in the interest of the Indian farmer. And from now on,
well, I hope so for your sake कि पूरा का पूरा पैकेज अब आ जाए, ताकि कम से कम अब तो किसान प्रोटेस्ट से उठ सकें. लेकिन जाने से पहले मैं बस पात्रा जी आपको एक बात कहना चाहती हूँ. आपने कहा योर कमिटमेंट टू रिफॉर्म स्टेज, तो मुझे गालिब याद आ गए, और गालिब ने कहा था हज़ारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश पे दम निकले. अब ख्वाहिशें बहुत होती हैं, बहुत निकले मेरे अरमान लेकिन फिर भी कम निकले. On that note, thank you very much for joining me on debate number 1. Taking a short break on the other side, joining me from the Tikri border is Congress Member of Parliament from Rajya Sabha, Dipendra Hooda. Don't go away.
The News Hour first. We'll be right back after the break.